Hey, I'm Dr. Tartt, and I want to offer a tip on for any couple that's going through relationship conflict right now. You know that conflict is a normal part of relationships, but what happens when the conflict becomes so heated or so constant or so frequent that the relationship goes from a 10 to a 7 to a 3 to into the negatives to where you wish you weren't even in the relationship anymore, but you don't want to leave because you've invested too much time and energy, or maybe you have kids, children, or history. You don't want to throw that relationship away, but you're tired of arguing. I have a tip that's going to hopefully change the course of your relationship and get it back to that 10 where both of you deserve. Alright? Now, one thing I want you to stop doing is blaming the other person in the argument. I know that seems obvious, but it's something that we all do. Hey, she doesn't listen to me. Hey, he's selfish. Hey, she always interrupts. You don't listen to me. You don't focus on me. You're so into your life, you don't focus on me. When you criticize other people, all it does, even if we think that you're right, is make us criticize you back. So what I want you to do is focus on something else, and the real culprit is not your partner, it's the fact that most likely your relationship has lost its connection. According to research by Dr. John Gottman and Dr. Julie Swartz Gottman out of the Gottman Institute, they talk about 4 prerequisites that allow you to actually successfully manage conflict. And if you do these 4 things, then you're much more likely, 1, to argue less, and then 2, when you do argue, you are able to argue in a way in which you're able to move on and move closer to one another. All right, let's get started. Number 1. Build love maps. This is where every day you sit down for 20-30 minutes and you talk to your partner about their dreams, their wishes, their ambitions, what they're worried about. Pretty much what's in their head every single day and what's going on. What happens if you don't do this, you can look up one day and realize that you all have totally different perspectives about the relationship and life in general and wonder what happened. Build love maps every day so you can strengthen the connection. Number 2. Show fondness and admiration for one another. That means verbally. That means that you express to your partner what you like about them. Hey, I appreciate the fact that you got off work today and made me a meal. Make sure that you give this real time, not, hey, I'm glad that you're my lady. I mean, what does that mean? Hey, I'm glad that today when you got off work that you put on something nice when I came home. I really appreciate that. I know you didn't wear that to work. It made me happy when I come in. Hey, I appreciate you taking out the trash without me asking. I know these things seem mundane, but if they're not appreciated, we feel as if you're not noticing the good things that we do. This is especially good for relationships that have some contempt or hatred starting to build. Make sure that you're doing fondness and admiration exercises. Number 3. Turn towards one another. That means be aware of your partner's need to connect. So if your husband or your boyfriend is mentioning sports and you're not interested, which is the case in my own relationship, pretend like you're interested. Be interested in the person, not necessarily the topic. You used to do it when we first started dating. Don't stop doing it because it's very important that we feel noticed and important in relationships. Same thing for us guys. Regardless of how we feel about the housewives or mob wives, all that stuff out there, we at least need to acknowledge the fact that our partner's interested in it and show interest in her. That's going to do a lot to make her feel noticed in the relationship. Now, what those 3 steps do is that they build a positive perspective in the relationship, which is number 4. Isn't that interesting? That the first 3 steps build a positive perspective, which then builds to the 5th step, which allows you to manage conflict? See, in the beginning you had disagreements. You still had your own minds and you disagreed about certain things. But because the connection was there, you were able to have a slight disagreement and maintain cordial relations. So, stop blaming and get busy on those relationship exercises so that you can build up the love maps, fondness and admiration, and turn towards one another so you can stop arguing. I love you. I'm Dr. Tartt.